Have you ever wondered what an entire economic system would look like if it was designed from the ground up to function without something we consider totally essential today, interest? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly that, exploring the blueprint for a system built on a completely different set of rules. So that's the big question, right? If you just pull interest completely out of the equation, how does an economy even work? What keeps the money flowing? Let's break down how this alternative model is actually supposed to function. First off, it's important to see how this system positions itself. It's not presented as some kind of extreme. It's framed as a moderate path. You can see it's meant to sit right between the pure individual profit motive of capitalism on one side and the total state control of socialism on the other. The goal is to strike this unique balance between personal rights and social responsibility. Okay, so if interest isn't the glue holding the economy together, what is? Well, the answer lies in its foundational pillars, a really distinct set of moral and legal rules that govern, well, everything. And this whole structure, it really starts at the individual level. There are super clear rules about how you're allowed to earn your wealth, and maybe even more importantly, what you're expected to do with that wealth once you have it. The first huge concept you have to get is this bright, clear line between what's halal, or permissible, and what's haram, or forbidden. This is not just a suggestion, it's a core, non-negotiable principle. The idea is that just because you have the right to own property, that doesn't mean you have a license to earn money by any means necessary. Some ways are okay, and others are just completely off the table. So let's look at this list of what's prohibited. You've got the stuff you'd totally expect, right? Bribery, theft, what's called usurpation, which is basically just wrongfully taking someone's property. But what's really fascinating here is that interest, or sood, is classified right there alongside stuff like gambling and fraud. From this perspective, it's not a healthy tool for economic growth. It's seen as an unjust way to get wealth, because it's based on the idea of money making more money all by itself, without any productive effort or shared risk. And really, it all boils down to this one simple, guiding principle. If a deal allows one person to profit by causing a direct loss or injury to someone else, it's forbidden. That's it. This single ethical rule is the foundation for the entire economic framework. Now, following that ethical rule creates a totally different mindset about money. On one hand, you have what the author calls the capitalist mentality, where the thinking is, if I spend my money, I have less. If I hoard it, I have more. But the Islamic mentality teaches the exact opposite. Spending and circulating wealth is what keeps the economy healthy, while hoarding it is seen as a fundamentally destructive act. And look, this isn't just a light recommendation. It's a very serious command. This quote really shows the heavy moral weight that's placed on keeping wealth moving. Hoarding isn't just seen as bad for the economy. It's framed as a major spiritual failing. Okay, so if you can't earn money in certain ways, and you absolutely can't hoard it, how does this system actually force the money to keep moving? Well, it has these really powerful built-in mechanisms that are specifically designed to keep wealth from ever getting stuck. The first tool, and honestly maybe the most powerful one, is zakat. Now, it often gets translated as charity, but its economic function is much more like a mandatory annual tax on wealth that's just sitting around. Its whole purpose is to prevent money from stagnating by literally pulling it out of savings and pushing it right back into the hands of people who will spend it. And the rate is very specific, 2.5% every single year on any wealth you've had sitting idle for a full year. Just think about that for a second. It creates this powerful mathematical reason not to let your money just sit there. Hoarding literally costs you money every single year. And this chart shows you exactly how that pump works. Someone saves or hoards their wealth, the 2.5% levy gets applied, and then those funds are directly redistributed to the most vulnerable people in society. It's an economic engine, constantly moving resources from where they've piled up to where they're needed most. I love this metaphor the author uses. They call zakat society's insurance company and provident fund. But here's the crucial difference. It's not for profit. It's a mandatory social safety net, and it's funded directly by that levy on capital that isn't being put to productive use. All right, the next mechanism is the law of inheritance, and it is specifically designed to stop wealth from getting concentrated over generations. So unlike a system like primogeniture, where the whole fortune might go to the oldest son, this system forces the fortune to be fragmented. It's automatically broken up and distributed among a whole bunch of relatives, your spouse, parents, children, and so on. This ensures that massive fortunes are literally shattered with every generation. And hey, even wealth that comes from war gets this kind of treatment. Before the soldiers get their share, a full 1/5 of everything is set aside by the state specifically to support the poor and needy. Again, it's a mechanism to make sure that even a huge windfall benefits the entire society, not just a select group. So you've got the rules on earning, and you have these powerful engines for distribution. But there's a third, really crucial layer to all this, a set of social rules designed to manage human behavior and stop class conflict before it can even start. This quote from the Quran just nails the core idea so perfectly. It's this incredible metaphor for economic moderation. Don't be a cheapskate with your hand chained to your neck, but also don't be a crazy spendthrift who throws money away. The sweet spot for you and for society is that sustainable balance right in the middle. And this idea of moderation is then backed up by actual prohibitions on certain kinds of luxury. The system explicitly bans things like wastefulness and over-the-top spending on stuff like alcohol, gambling, or even gold and silk for men. And the goal is very clear: to stop the wealthy from living a lifestyle that seems to mock the poor, which in turn reduces social envy and resentment. Okay, so let's bring all these pillars together now. We've looked at the rules for earning, the powerful mechanics of distribution, and this culture of moderation. And all of this leads us to one final, really important question. And honestly, it's more of a rhetorical question. After you've built this entire self-contained system piece by piece, you just have to step back and ask, where on earth would a concept like interest even fit in? Is there any logical space for it here? Because just think about it for a second. This is a system that is explicitly designed to stop exploitative earning, to prevent hoarding, to force distribution with zakat, to break up big fortunes with inheritance laws, and to encourage a culture of giving and spending in moderation. And that brings us to this final, really powerful metaphor that sums up the whole argument. Trying to jam interest, a tool that by its very nature concentrates wealth, into a system that is built from the ground up to distribute wealth, well, it's a fundamental contradiction. It would be, as the author puts it, like giving a healthy body a prescription for death. A pretty provocative thought, and one that really highlights just how radically different this economic blueprint actually is.